Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into the life of a site reliability engineering team. We're going to look at how an SRE practice grows, not just by adding more people, but in the quality of its conversations. You'll see how it can transform from just a single person advocating for reliability into a totally integrated partner within a tech organization.
You know, this quote from senior SRE Daniel Gentleman really just nails it. He calls SREs bridge builders and enablers. And that's perfect, because this job isn't just about putting out fires. It's about connecting development and operations. And how do you build those bridges? Well, it all starts with deep, intentional conversation.
So first up, let's look at how that collaboration gets deeper as a team matures. This whole journey really unfolds across three key stages. It's less about the specific tasks SREs do and way more about how they relate and talk to the rest of the organization.
All right, so we're going to walk through this progression. You start as an advocate, you become a partner, and you end up as a fully integrated engineer. Think of each step as a deeper, more sophisticated dialogue about what it really takes to build and run reliable systems.
The whole journey kicks off with advocacy. So instead of being the firefighters who only get called when a system is already burning down, SREs at this stage are proactively starting the conversation. They're getting into design discussions, they're leading production readiness reviews, and they're championing reliability way before a single line of code even gets deployed. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. The jump from advocate to partner. The conversation just fundamentally changes. See, an advocate watches what developers are doing and plans their support reactively. A partner, on the other hand, is right there in the room, planning the roadmap with them from day one. It's a huge shift.
And in this partner stage, SREs are building the foundational tools that everyone uses, a genuine reliability platform. They're creating systems that, as our source material puts it, empower intelligent risk. Basically, they give teams the tools and data to make smart trade-offs. The conversation becomes a real two-way street, where even things like sharing on call isn't seen as a punishment, but as a welcome, collaborative effort.
And that brings us to the final form, the integrated engineer. At this point, the conversation about reliability is so deeply ingrained that it becomes a shared language across the company. The lines start to blur, not because SREs are suddenly writing product features, but because everyone in the organization has a laser focus on reliability. But okay, let's get real for a second. The source asks a really important question. Is this level of perfect, cohesive conversation actually achievable? And the answer is yeah, but it's rarely stable. This ideal state is pretty fragile. It can get totally disrupted by the realities of company reorgs or budget changes that can throw everyone's incentives out of whack.
Okay, so we've seen how the collaboration evolves. Now let's get practical and talk about what it looks like to actually grow an SRE practice. How do the challenges change as you go from a team of one to a full-blown SRE organization?
It all starts with one, your first dedicated SRE hire. Now, this person isn't some kind of superhero who's going to solve every problem. Nope, they're focused on the fundamentals. They're the one kicking off the reliability conversation by improving monitoring, observability, and making sure post-incident reviews actually lead to change.
At 6 people, you hit a kind of magic number. This is the size where you can finally create a humane on-call rotation and stop burning people out. The team can now start to tackle small, focused projects, grabbing those localized wins that build a reputation for success and collaboration. Once you get to 18 people, whole new possibilities open up, especially if you're a global company. Suddenly, a follow-the-sun on-call rotation is actually possible, where coverage gets handed off between time zones. This makes the on-call burden so much more sustainable and lets people on the team start to specialize.
And then, somewhere north of 48 people, you're not just an SRE team anymore. You're an SRE organization. And that brings on a whole new set of challenges. The main conversation shifts from, say, the reliability of one service to the cohesion, standards, and culture of the entire reliability practice. And this chart just lays out that journey perfectly. You can see how at each stage of growth, the core challenge for the SRE practice completely changes. You go from just setting up basic monitoring, to managing burnout, to enabling global operations, and finally to keeping a massive organization aligned and on the same page. You know, this is such a crucial point. The goal of SRE is to scale sublinearly. You don't just hire more people to lift more rocks. SREs built levers, things like automation and common platforms, so that fewer people can lift even heavier rocks. It's all about freeing up engineers to do more interesting, high-impact work.
All right, we've seen the ideal path. Now let's ground this whole conversation in reality.
Here's some hard-won wisdom straight from the trenches. Some absolutely essential advice for anyone on this journey. This is such a critical warning. Please don't think of these stages as some neat, linear checklist you just work through. It's messy. Teams often move back and forth. You might be an amazing partner on one project, but you're still stuck being a firefighter on another. The journey is absolutely not a straight line. Here is a fantastic piece of advice from staff SRE David Caldill. Prioritize getting the whole system working, even if it's a little wobbly at first. A team that has an imperfect but functioning feedback loop, what SREs call an SLI/SLO cycle, can actually learn and get better. A team that gets stuck trying to perfect one tiny piece never even leaves the starting line.
And SRE Joanna Vinches reminds us of something that is absolutely non-negotiable: the error budget. It's just an agreed-upon allowance for how much unreliability is okay. Without that explicit budget for failure, engineers have zero room to innovate, to automate, or to make the very improvements that lead to a healthier service in the long run. And finally, Jamie Wilkinson just cuts through all the noise right to the core mission. All the other stuff SREs do, automation, on-call, building platforms, that's all just tools in the toolbox. The primary job, the single defining trait, is to first measure and then defend the appropriate level of reliability for a given system. That's it.
So if there's one thing you should take away from all this, it's that building an SRE practice isn't just a technical problem to be solved. It's a systems thinking endeavor. It's all about evolving the quality and the depth of the conversations your organization has about reliability and moving from reactive firefighting to a truly proactive, collaborative partnership.
We'll leave you with this final thought. This entire complex journey, through all of its stages and scaling challenges, it really all begins by creating a culture of deep curiosity, a culture that never stops asking two simple but incredibly powerful questions. How does this system actually work, and how does it fail?